Doubles and coffee. Well, I reach. Well, Guardian newspaper, the Guardian of PNM K-Pax. I really reach. I trying to read and understand an editorial in the Guardian newspaper today. And let me tell you something. If all you never believed me before that these PNM mass media are just happy with the PNM because their shareholders make billions of dollars. They don't care about the media outlet. The Guardian Media Limited lost $14 million last year. But the power of the mass media is that they could put ideas in your head, concepts in the mass of people, perception, in order to impact politics and how you vote. That's how the PNM actually exists. Anybody who can analyze PNM, especially this version of the rowdy PNM, which is the worst PNM in the history of PNM, will know on crime, they suck. On energy, they suck. On road, they suck. On water, they suck. On electricity, they suck. On taxes, they suck. On school and education, they suck. In sport, they suck. In culture, they suck. In labor relations, they suck. In respect, they suck. In arrogance, they are brilliant. Anybody who would analyze it calmly on facts will come to that conclusion. But the mere fact that the PNM still exists, along with the EBC that they control and the independent institutions, is these things. These PNM media. Imagine Guardian Media Limited. Now they hit rock bottom now. Them have Stuart Young, Gyal or ex-Gyal, me and know all the man business, but Asha Javid, who Stuart Young has been with since 2014. Asha Javid, who was at the Express, had a judgment against her. The judge said that she is the most dishonest person he's ever seen. Go and read the judgment. See, Balak Singh versus Express, Irene Medina, and Asha Javid and others. Right? Go and read that, where he was a UNC, so-called UNC, but he was the CEO of the EMBD at that time. Go and read that judgment. But Guardian Media hire Asha Javid, whose loving relationship with Stuart Young is well known. She leave out former Attorney General of the PNM, John Jeremy, who child she have mining. For Small Pin leave the family that he was living with 10 years as the daddy. The stepdaughter went so off that she under charges and we don't know what happened now. But he say, nah man, that not my daughter, I'm a stepdaughter. That's the kind of man Stuart Young is. An elitist, arrogant, dotish failure. Stuart Young was the minister of what was communication. CNMG had to change to TTT. People get fired, they make losses, they never make money. Nobody does watch CNMG nor TTT. It's the lowest rated thing on God green earth. That was Small Pin failure. They move him to national security. He moved up the record tables with 518 murders. Then the next year, 539 murders. Only he was second only to Martin Joseph in 2008. A total complete failure. Fire services, no fire engine. Lifeguard, nowhere to save life, nowhere to bathe, nowhere to hang up the bag. He was a total failure. The man in the office of the Prime Minister with Rowley, total complete failure. The only thing Small Pin and them succeeded is that his family get real lucky since he is a PNM minister. His brother company get over $6 billion in work at averages of 4 to 7% interest for the next 18 years, money coming in. His brother company turned from rat's tail company to a merchant bank and all kind of, they get lucky. His father, when Dr. Terence Farrell resigned because Rowley wasn't listening to him or the Economic Development Board, Small Pin father, Daddy Small Pin, get put in charge of whatever it is. So all investment had to pass through so he could report to his Small Pin son to Rowley K-Pax. And then he was put, Small Pin father, in charge of the IFC for the last 8 or 9 years. Hewitt Williams resigned quietly. Here, tell me why. $15 million a year for 8 or 9 years. What Small Pin father have to show for it? Small Pin is a total, complete failure. Flying all over the place. Delcy Rodriguez, Minister of National Security, banning people from coming home for COVID-19. Talking about Delcy Rodriguez. That all years done. Then he moved to Ministry of Energy. The Ministry of Energy has collapsed under Small Pin. Before he was Minister of Energy, when he negotiated in 2017 in Houston and Rowley, both is Small Pin, Stuart Young who negotiate. And the upstreamers make plenty money, 69% more money, and we lost 69%. That is Rowley's boy, Small Pin. 69 is the number because he Gyal in 69 with he, now writing in the Guardian. And the Guardian do an editorial floating the concept into the mindshare of the people that somehow, some way, Stuart Small Pin just come arrogant, dotish, failure, dunce, Small Pin Young could somehow, some way, be a good replacement as a possible prime ministerial candidate. Guardian, well, you all have no shame to have the man Gyal, the man who was intimate with she. She's the only one see the clause with Paria, the clause that say the anti-sanction clause. She's the only one read it on she back. And she writing editorial in your newspaper to float the idea that she man, Stuart Small Pin Young, is a possible good replacement for Rowley. Let me read it because I was wondering what this editorial is about. Because it says nothing. It's not to talk about fantasy, like they making play whether Rowley setting track, cutting track for Guti to run to bust the throat because Dr. Williams did it and politics is so devious and so on. And should there be another leader to lead the PNM into the future if Rowley had to go? A set of fantasy stuff. But there's a key element. On occasion, the media are used by governments and opposition parties. When the opposition ever get to use the PNM media, why all let us lie so, Guardian? And opposition parties of creating speculation about possible successors and outcomes. That Stuart Young's name is being peddled as a possible successor to Prime Minister Rowley is not strange. Of course, it's not only strange, it's ludicrous, it's insane, it's mad. Stuart Small Pin Young is not qualified to be any prime minister. He has not worked hard in the vineyard. He does not like people. He does not have that sort of respect across the country. He's not a diplomat. He's a total just-come clown who has been elevated by a prime minister who is an Oreo and likes elites. So the whole country is wondering, but what madness, out of all 1.46 million or million a week, all you're telling me about Small Pin Young could be prime minister? Everybody who sees that or senses it or hears it wants to regurgitate because it is so stupid, so ridiculous. The idea of the concept of Small Pin as a leader of a party or a prime minister is so unpalatable, people cannot swallow the doubles and the coffee. But here comes the Guardian to say, well, it's not strange. Stuart Small Pin Young, yeah man, he could be our next leader of the PNM. Abject, total nonsense, but good for all your PNM. The only problem that I have is that the PNM has gerrymandered the system and the EBC and the mass PNM media make it such a joke that cheating and gerrymandering and concoction of boundaries and so on with an unfair, unlevel playing field makes it possible that anybody who becomes the leader of the PNM could become prime minister. So now, I thought it was a joke at first. I seen it, I seen Rowley playing it, I see him but getting sidelined, I see him letting Small Pin pretend he's prime minister, I see Small Pin start to try to talk like a humble person for the first time in 10 years. But I still didn't believe it. I didn't believe my eyes and my ears. It was such a ludicrous concept, Small Pin as a leader of the PNM and possible prime minister. But now I see. The Guardian has told me that this is not a joke. This is not a nightmare. This is an actual possibility in the realm of the concept of a madman called Rowley or the PNM financiers who make billions that they are going to try to force Stuart Small Pin, elitist, nonsensical, bad father, bad daddy, nonsensical ornament, Small Pin Young, who spit out the child as soon as they do something wrong. Said, I not me, even though he was the stepdaddy for 10 years. That's who we all want to put on our country, on our children to be prime minister. Look, PNM, if all PNM should vote against PNM, all you had to be mad. And to Guardian, you all are sickening. That is corrupt. To put a man Gyal as the editor of political business, to write an editorial promoting Shiman. Wall is, Guardian, you all had to be a joke, yes? Guardian, give me a chance, eh?